let's go ahead and get started. I appreciate you guys for being here today. And I am just so thankful for having these community meetups and bringing in speakers, because when we do these speaker series for small business owners, especially those across the US, no matter where they're at, startup to legacy or just build up, we want to give them courage and confidence. And courage and confidence is what underscores all of our choices, right? So we want to give them the availability to sit here and listen, learn, and leverage. And that's why we have guests on that share their story, their insights, and their journey each week. And this week, I'm excited because we've got John Knapp on, and John runs a national insurance brokerage. He's worked with small business since 1988, and he has been building up the American dream and protecting it for so long that he understands insights and stories and leverage more than anybody. And I've had the pleasure of working with him for 13 years, so I'm just very excited to introduce him today. John, before we get started, we're going to have the community members that are here to support you today introduce themselves. I'll go ahead and start. My name is Adam Griggs. I'm the co-founder of a software platform called CLARAfi, and I'm your moderator today. Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jonathan Graziano. I am part of the GoDaddy brand social media team. So I am working on engagement strategies and helping to facilitate and build communities within GoDaddy.
Beautiful. Thank you. Chris, what about you?
Happy Thursday, everyone, or whatever day it is whenever you watch this. My name is Chris Boyk. I'm from Boyk Consulting. We help companies focus on the right things and get more work done, improve cash flow, reduce inventory, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Chris is going to be a speaker coming up in the series, so I am excited for him to be able to share his knowledge. Today, we've got John Knapp on. Like I said, he's been serving the small business community since 1988. John, why don't you give us a little bit of backstory into who you are, what you do, and how you got started in the industry?
How I got started in the industry was I was working in warehousing, and I went down to talk to the sales department and said, hey, I don't want to break my back all my life. I want to get into sales. And the guys asked me, well, what do you think sales is? I said, well, what I think I would want to do is, work really hard for the next 4 or 5 years, build up a large base of business, and just sit back and take care of those. And the guy laughed at me. He said, you should become an insurance agent. So I said, okay. So I went over and talked to a gentleman who was my insurance agent. And that's how I got started. I got licensed and started selling.
I like that story because you were proactive in your approach to it. Somebody kind of laughed at your thought of what you wanted to do and jokingly said you should try insurance, and you took that and ran with it. And that was 1988. So that was, a time when things were starting to progress and technology was coming on to the scene pretty heavily. And a lot's changed since then. So tell us about your journey as an insurance broker and what made you pursue working with small businesses in general.
Well, when I started, I jumped in selling cars, homes, and at that time, I had to work evenings and Saturdays, and I had a growing family. When I started my career, I had 3 children. It turned out to be 5 children after a while. And I just didn't want to work evenings and Saturdays. So I talked to a small tire dealer, got his insurance. I thought, I can talk to people during the day. Then, then it came around to HVAC, an air conditioning contractor. I talked to him, and, we became friends. And so I started talking his lingo because I was around him a lot. So I said, well, I'm going to go talk to all the HVAC guys in the area. I did that, picked up a lot of it. I set up a small association to give them discounts on workers' compensation. Then I expanded it into the county and into the entire state, and we went to other states surrounding. So I just kept on building on that. After that, I said, hey, plumbers are the same thing as HVAC. So I started talking to plumbers, electricians. They all wanted to have a contract with generals. So I started talking to generals. So it just was the complete circle.
Yeah, kind of a ripple effect when you're
Yeah.
talking with small business owners. I like the story as far as your decision and your decision making process, right? So many of us think that somebody like yourself who in the business community, you're well known. You're somebody who has understood and worked with small businesses for so long that it's almost taken for granted the reason why you got into it. You know, you got into it because you wanted to be with your family. You wanted to be home on nights and weekends. And that was a decision you made willingly without knowing how and where to get into it, because you knew at some opportunity or some crossroads in the future, you were going to have the aptitude and the capability to jump into that environment and make what you wanted to have come true. And so many of us see successful people that are in environments we wish we could be part of. And we think, well, they were given that from somebody, or maybe they were pulled into that. And you made the proactive decision. And I think that's powerful. I think that's a positive thing for people, especially entrepreneurs, to hear and understand.
Well, the big thing is nothing, you have to sacrifice something to get something. You know, I always were told that, you know, you have to be real lucky to be successful. And how I always look at it, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And, you know, most of in my early career, probably 60 to 80 hours a week I put into it. But, you know, I had the availability to go to the kids' games, take a Friday off when I wanted to, and just change my work schedule to fit my needs.
And shoot basketball behind you, right?
Yes.
No, I love that. And I love that it grew. I mean, when you approach something from a position of passion, doing something that you love, and you love working with small businesses. We've had, you know, moments where we've seen people that have just thrived because of their confidence that you've given them. And you love seeing that and working with that. But I love that it expanded and spilled over into working with niche markets that you can understand. Like you said, with the air conditioning company, you know, they gave you the availability to speak their lingo and understand what their needs were. And having a better picture brings better rates and better business, right? So I love that. When you're working with niche markets, do you find that you're able to ask better questions? Do you find that people are open to sharing knowledge and expanding, you know, across and less so in fear of competition anymore?
Absolutely. When you talk to a specific market, you know, they'll open up to you. You know, they'll teach you what the things that you don't know, the things that you've learned from the other people in that, you know, industry. You know, you can relate to them. They can give them they'll give you back their perspective on how they feel about certain things in the industry. So it's, you know, you collaborate between all the different people. You know, in that field, you know, there's a lot of competition. They don't talk to each other. You know, but I'm like an intermediary that will, you know, talk between them. You know, I don't give any specific information, but I do, you know, well, helps this guy, you know, this doesn't help this guy type stuff.
I love it. And it's a powerful position to be in when you think about it, because you're building a community. Small business in itself is building up their community because they hire employees and they build up families. But when you work in niche industries, you're building their community. And the more that you understand and work with them and take care of them, it reciprocates, right? I mean, obviously, when you talk to your first air conditioning company or your plumbing company and you did well by them and you did it in the right fashion and you shared your perspective and you shared some of your knowledge and understanding, they saw that as valuable and they spoke highly of you. And you were able to do that with many, many, many contractors in those industries. And I feel like if you were doing it the wrong way, or if you were being cutthroat or sharing information with one and not with the other, it obviously would have, you know, it would have showed and reared its ugly face, and you wouldn't have been as successful as you have been. So I appreciate you for sharing that.
It would slow the growth.
Yeah. Jonathan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just want more than a comment. I just wanted to say that it makes me think a lot about, I always working in social, like just spending all my time in social media. I don't think there's anything more valuable than word of mouth. Like there's no kind of advertising you could pay that is going to have more of an impact on me than if I get a recommendation from someone that I trust or someone that I know. And I think I was so cool to hear you talk about how you met this one person in this one industry, and instead of immediately just saying, I'm going to solve a problem for you by giving you insurance, or I'm going to solve a problem for you by doing business, you learned from him. You formed a relationship with him. And that alone is what I think, not exclusively, but I think that had such a huge impact on the effectiveness that you had with those other people that you went with in the industry who you networked with, because it's very clear that there was enough word in that community that you were trying to learn what their needs were, right? It wasn't just, I'm here to make a profit off of you, or I'm here to, to cross my T's and dot my I's. It was so much about building that community and building that network with people to say like, hey, listen, I'm going to learn about what your business is, and I'm going to help you in that vein. And I can't help but think that there are so many other entrepreneurs out there, or people who are very focused on a lifestyle, right? On a certain lifestyle that they want to live, or certain goals that they have, who aren't sure how to go about building a client base, or about, getting that sort of access. And I think this is such a great way to start, is just get to know the people, right? Get to know these people and learn them past their business, learn from them past their business and what they do as a vocation, and learn about what they need as a person and what their personal goals are. And I think you did yourself such a service by talking to these people and building that community. I can imagine there are a lot of people watching this who might have someone in the back of their mind as, oh, you know what, I know this person really well. And maybe their network could become my network one day. And I would encourage them to go ahead and do that and embrace that relationship, because it's very clearly something that works. And it's very cool to hear.
Yeah, I really feel like when you're working with a community like you have, John and Jonathan, thank you for saying all of that. I just appreciate the impact a community can have when they share information and knowledge, but it goes beyond that. When you ask real questions, like expandable questions, and you start finding out what somebody's needs really are, you do develop a relationship. And like John said, he became friends with that HVAC owner, the owner of that air conditioning company. And it's powerful to see that, because that creates a bond. And when you create a bond, you build visions and ventures. You don't send invoices, right? It's not about showing up and taking somebody's order like a waiter, because we know that technology is coming, and technology can do that just as well. If you don't want the relationship, obviously you're replaceable. And one of the most powerful things I've learned in my career, and I have to give kudos to John on this, because he is the single largest factor in developing my network and understanding of small businesses, is knowing that the relationship matters more, and not just showing up like a waiter and taking their order. We have to make recommendations that will matter and make an impact. And if we can do that, then we can have leverage and strength in numbers. We can show confidence and courage, and people are going to make choices that are going to grow their companies. And when they grow, you grow, right? We start out with small business owners with big dreams, and one day they become big business owners with big dreams. And you get to be part of that journey. And that's such a powerful and tangible thing. And I love that. So John, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. I mean, you've been working with niche markets for so long, right? You've been expanding and building your knowledge base and working with these communities and really just powering the American dream. What do you see as far as the future now that a lot of us are disconnected? We're working remotely. I mean, how do you see that progressing forward?
I see in a lot of growth in a lot of industries. Construction is only hampered by the lack of employees going into it. The restaurants are coming back online. You're going to see a lot of people use those facilities because of, they've gotten used to not going to work anymore, but to have the abilities to work away from brick and mortar remotely, where they can go into a Starbucks, a McDonald's, or their choice, and get on the computer and do their work there. So I think there's going to be a big expansion. The only thing that's going to hamper it is probably the taxes that are going to be coming down the line to slow the economy.
I feel like we've already seen so many images of neighborhood restaurants and bars and stores being filled with people that have just been dying to get back out. And I know that the consumer society we have is one thing, but people really love locale, right? They love supporting their local companies, their local initiatives, their local stores, and they like to be out and have that connection with friends and family. And as a business owner, I, and I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, I feel like we are more connected than ever, and that's been very hard to know when to draw the line. But we're allowing ourselves to have a connection that's just gone beyond, the application, gone beyond the relationship of broker and client, right? Or somebody who's working with like Chris on the call, Chris Boyd. If you're working with somebody who is a consultant and a small business owner, we get to see their families. And Chris had mentioned this in an earlier call last month, that we're having the opportunity to be introduced to their lives and see them as people and as business owners. And I feel like that's perpetuating, empowering, hopefully a stronger growth for people to want to take on the entrepreneurial dream, to want to share their vision and have the courage to step up. This is great. John, what do you feel for small business is one of the single greatest things that you could do from your perspective as an advisor? What is the tip that you can give somebody who's thinking about jumping in and chasing their passion?
When they chase their passion, they never go to work because they love what they're doing. They're gonna learn what they're doing. To me, I started my career at age 25. I wished I could have started at age 18. Just figure out what your skills are and understand, where to go. Talk to people in a lot of different industries. If something excites you, go try it. If you love it, make a career out of it.
I love it. Find what you love and do it early. Chris.
John, did you have any mentors that really helped you along the way, that encouraged you, motivated you, gave you additional advice as to how to actually run your business, or that inspired you at the times when you felt most depressed?
The wife was the one who motivated me most. We have, when I got married, I figured, once I got married, I was going to be poor. And once I started having kids, I was going to be poor. So we just did it all together. It just was poor altogether. So she motivated me to get out there and strive to do it. But every morning I wake up, I look at the mirror, and I know it's going to be the best day I've ever had. So it's just the motivation that I have to make it the best day. If there's problems that come up, we deal with them as soon as we can, because I'm not going to worry about them, down the road. Mentors. I was always been a very independent person, and I learned from a majority of people, but I always hated to take directions as from a teacher to a student type thing. So I went to peers. I went to, I learned mostly from the business owners I dealt with. And that's where I learned. I never really sought out any mentors. I tested all my theories on myself, and I failed numerous times. One thing that I did do religiously was take a bunch of notes in my early careers to figure out what I did do, what was good, and what things I did do was bad. And if I do go into this slump, I go see what I was doing that made me successful, and what I was doing what didn't make me successful. And it seems like every time I got into a slump, I did the same things on those notes.
I love that. That was such a powerful question, Chris. Thank you for asking that. And I feel like for our community members, so many of them align with you, John. A lot of people that are in our community are small business owners that don't have mentors that are, either raising them up and teaching them the ways of the world, or they're in the same industry and they just feel that friction, when they're starting, because there's give and take, right? Sometimes you either have a pride issue and somebody might be innovative, or maybe you're just too new and you feel like you don't have enough courage, confidence, or a success rate to be working with those people. And I love that you shared that, because it's powerful to be able to listen and learn and kind of take away. And that's how I've learned is, kind of a mixed medium, right? I've got my mentors, you're one of them. And then I've also learned from small business owners, and I've learned from moments like this where we've listened in to small business owners that are sharing their story. They've shared what challenges they had, how they found success, how they remotivated themselves to rekindle the journey, or maybe pivot, or even drop what they're doing and find a new passion. We've had some of those stories. So I appreciate that, and I love that.
Well, one thing that I've always found out, I never went out to sell insurance, and that's my job. Basically, I went out there to inform and try to build a relationship, and I never expected a sell. But if you do the right things and do the ethical things and just tell the truth about stuff that the sales come. You don't have to sell, the sales will come.
Yeah, that's so true. And I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that really stuck with me. And that's so much of what I see every day when we're, we see some of our customers launch their websites for the first time or launch their businesses for the first time. It's remarkable to see the differences between the people who post about this is our, this is on sale, this is on sale, this is on sale, versus the people who post their about me section, right? And they say like, I got into this because my mother taught me and I love making this product, or I love this, I always grew up wanting to run my own business or, solve this problem. And you get the story behind it. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about a little earlier. It's that human connection. It's that thing where you go, this person could very well just be trying to sell something to me, but it means so much more when I know that they're just trying to help me. They're trying to inform me. They're trying to add value to my day outside of just a transactional relationship. And I think there are a lot of people out there who, when they think about starting a business, and it's a little counterintuitive, because when you start a business, the first thing you think of is you're like, I want this to be successful, right? I want to start a business so it works. But it's so important to remember that part of the building blocks of your business is establishing that ability to build those relationships with people. And as an entrepreneur, of being able to do that thing where you go, listen, I might not make a sale today, but if I've talked to 10 different people who've learned something from me, they might come to me next time they need something, or they might remember me next time one of their friends needs to learn more about this. And I think you do such a service to yourself and to your community when you put yourself out there and you let yourself just talk to people and just meet people and do that thing where you share your business with them outside of just the end goal. And it's incredible to hear from people who have just launched their business, and then from people like you who know exactly, who have been in it for a while and have tried and true, results in doing it this way. It's very encouraging. It's very encouraging. And it's what I get so excited about with watching our customers every day and hearing from you. I can have that much more enthusiasm for what they're doing, because it's going to work, right? It's going to work. They're going after what they love, and they're just going to go after it until it comes true.
Yeah, business today is not to be taken as a commodity. I mean, it can be, but nobody wants to be chasing a new client every second of every day. Like John said, you want to build up a relationship with a community of clients and then take care of them, because business, if you do it the right way, can be generational. And when it's generational, it is built and it is intertwined in the roots of your family, your life, and everything. And you can have a successful career. And I love that. So John, thank you for sharing that with us. And Jonathan and Chris, thank you for your comments and kudos on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We hear from so many different people in so many different industries, and every single time we wrap up one of these, I always walk away with something new. And I hear from entrepreneurs like you, and I look at the rest of my day and think of who I'm going to talk to, and it makes me that much more excited to encourage them with their ventures or whatever it is. So thank you for coming and sharing your insights with our community. It really means a lot, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, leading with conversation and informing people first is always, it's so important and so impactful. So thank you for doing that. Um, I appreciate you sharing your insights with us today. And I feel like so many of the community members today they're going to take away the thought that if they work with one person one time the right way and build a relationship, it can have a ripple effect, just like what you shared today. And you can build a lifetime that's a legacy, something that you feel confident and passionate about. So thank you for that.